Just setting up the live stream, won't be long. Famous last words, isn't it, when you say you won't be long and then things take twice as long as normal to happen. Okay, I think we're more or less there. He says famous last words as the live stream monitor goes absolutely haywire. Right, done it. Okay. So we are going to, let me just unload this. We've got a SimBrief operational flight plan here to go from Lisbon down to Tenerife. And we'll go and import that in so we're using the same data. So we're leaving Lisbon. Let's go and have a look at the standard instrument departure chart. So heading north, then turning around and flying airways all the way down. So initially A5, then R724, and then A857, down to Turto, and then quite an interesting start. And the approach hasn't been filled in, obviously, because it never does. So we'll put our ILS into the route, go via the Quitty waypoint, and come in runway 25. So it's going to be, it's going to be fun. Obviously we need to go and get the airplane up and running first. I will record this on Volanta as well while we're at it. So let's go and launch Volanta. Let it connect to the simulator. It should get the airplane, and it has. So VFA 001. Flight number, we haven't really got a flight number. So we'll just go 123. We are going to add a flight plan, import it from SimBrief, and that will move the map to where we are. There we go, Lisbon down to Tenerife. So we can leave that running in the background. Leave the browser in the background as well. We can leave navigraph in the background for the moment. So I am going to be working through a checklist. I will show you this actually. So if I pull up 777, I've got this on a second screen, but if you've ever wondered what my checklists look like, this is one of them. So this is the checklist for the 777, or procedure I should say. So it's a functional procedure. It doesn't do everything that a real crew would do, but it does what the simulator supports doing. So if we look down, it tells you the keys of where to look in the cockpit, where things are to aid your direction around the cockpit, so you're looking in the right places. So say, for example, here, look overhead, go to the electrical section, primary external power to on, secondary external power to on, rotate APU to start, and it even tells you in places, what the status change will be to expect to see. And it goes through every phase of it, and then it goes into the flight management computer, so bit by bit, all the way through the various pages. Once you've done it a few times, obviously, you can skim over some of this. But then master control panel, or that should be mode control panel, that's actually a mistake. Although there's a difference, isn't there, between the names that Airbus and Boeing call things. But anyway, we've got the auto brakes and so on. So this gives you an idea of what the procedure's got in it. So literally I just scroll down it on the screen so I don't miss anything out. And it tells me what to do, and then on departure obviously it's got a laundry list of things to check and make sure that I'm doing on the way out. So that's what those procedures look like. So I'll put a link in the notes of the video later with where you can get my 777 procedure from. Okay, so there's our operational flight plan. We can view the real thing here as well. So that obviously gives us the PDF. We can show this in the cockpit later as well. Okay, let's go and jump inside the aeroplane. See if we can get it fired up. Oh, let's go and check volume levels as well while we're here. Yeah, volume levels look okay actually. So, first things first, go overhead and put the batteries on. So, battery switch is here. Then go to the EFB, so control 9, and go to ground power, so ground operations, and we want to request ground power. So it says, well, as soon as it says release, it means it's actually connected, so we can look outside and see that. So you can see there's a little device has just appeared with a cable into the aircraft, so we'll leave that there. Okay, so then back over to the electrical section, primary external power to on, and secondary external power to on, and then we rotate the APU to start. And if you want to at this point, whoa, the sim is really stuttering badly, isn't it? If you want to at this point, you can go and switch the electric. Look at that, oh my word. I'm guessing that's the Lisbon scenery that's causing this. We just wait for the screens to come up. Let's go and have a look overhead again. So we can put a primary external power on, can't we? Yeah, it was on. How strange. Anyway, while we're waiting for the screens to come on down in the cockpit, we'll go and put Adiru on as well. We'll go and turn on the window heats. We'll go and arm the emergency lights. We'll go and set the IFE pass and cabin utility. And the oxygen as well. So, have we got screens on yet? Press F, come down. Oh, it's taking a while, isn't it? Okay. So, just checking the checklist. So, did I actually start the APU yet? I did, didn't I? Yeah, because it's set to on. What on earth is happening? The sim is going incredibly slowly, stuttering badly, and the screens are not powering up. Although we have got the MCDU has come alive, so we'll be expecting to see the screens sometime soon. Oh, here they come. It's just taking a while to boot up today. Okay. So control 3 will bring us over to the FMC. We can clear this out. Go to pos init, so we can pick up the GPS position and drop it in. We can put in our reference airport. So today our reference airport is LPPT. And then we can go to route, and so we can drop in LPPT again. I wonder if this is supposed to carry through the reference airport in the same way the 737 does, and it's just that they've missed it. GCTS is Tenerife. So if we go over to the tablet, it's doing it again, look. It's stuttering horrendously. and then come back over to the EFB and request data from SimBrief. So that gets our data in here, and you can see the route there. But then what we should be able to do then, if we press Control 3, come over here, when we go to route request, it will now show SimBrief as an option. So we can go and get the flight plan. And then we can set the payload as well. And we can set the fuel. And we can then select the route. And we should get it's requesting the route. We have to wait here for a moment, and then we'll give the option to load it in a moment. So just wait for it. So the route request has been sent. So wait a bit longer. There we go. And we can now load that. So route 1 uplink loading. Clear the messages out. Okay, so just wait, so there we go, and then we can activate the route and execute that. So then if we go and look in the route page and go next now, you can see there's our airways that we talked about and going through the various waypoints. So then we can go and set up the departure and arrival. So if we go and refer to SimBrief, we can see here we're doing the ESP6N, so we're departing runway 02, ESP6N to ESP 02, and then ESP6N, and execute that. And if we go back to index, we can then go and do the arrival into Tenerife as well. So it's the TERT 02U into runway 25. So ILS now, I think, let's go and have a look at in detail in navigraph. ILS Z runway 25, TERT 2U. So ILS Z 25, and then, oh, and it's the Quitty transition, and then TERT 2U, and then execute that. Let's go and have a look through the legs. Next page, next page, next page. So that all looks good. Cool. So then we can go to the init refs, and I've zoomed in too far now, haven't I? This is really stuttering badly. I've not seen it perform this badly in ages. So we should have the fuels should be accurate because we pulled it in with the data from SimBrief. So we just go and get the 0 fuel weight, and that's calculated that. We can, oh, here we go, yeah, performance, accept the data, and we can say yes. And then we can go to thrust limit and takeoff. We can say 15 degrees of flap for takeoff, please, which gives us our reference V speeds, which we can transfer across. Then we can calculate the center of gravity, and then go to thrust. Yep, so that goes around in a circle then. On the next page in there, we don't need to do anything in there really. So if we go back and look at just checking through the various things, so takeoff, thrust limit, yeah, that's fine. I'm just being a bit paranoid, making sure I've covered everything off. So we've got the route in, and we've got the basic data. So we're going to go over to the mode control panel now and tell it we'll go out to 360 today. So we just select that. It's already configured. Indicated airspeed for the target for the auto throttles is good. They're armed. We need to go and turn on the flight directors. We can go and set the auto brake to rejected takeoff. We can set the heading to the runway direction, which might be an idea. So if we go and even navigraph is going on a go slow, something odd is going on here. So the runway direction, which they haven't, yes they have, sorry, it's 25 degrees. So rotate this round to 25. We should be able to, sometimes I forget the logic, different planes behave in different ways. We might be able to go and pre-select, yes we can, look, LNAV and VNAV. You can't always do it, but sometimes you can. Anyway, we could also though go and set a vertical speed as well, and it will use it until it can go to VNAV. So notice it shows both. And notice it will also, you can do the same trick with heading and LNAV. So if we were to select heading, you'll notice it will do both, heading select then LNAV. So we can select the heading direction until LNAV can be captured. So it'll be smart about it. Okay, so Control 4. We're going to go and find the transponder and put it to standby. It's always on TARA immediately you get in the airplane, which is a bit odd to me, but there you go. Control 6 takes us back overhead. Go and turn the beacon light on. And go and turn the right pumps and the left pump. So this is an interesting one really, because yeah, it depends which tanks have got fuel in. I don't think I've got any fuel in the centre tanks. If you do it, you'll probably get a pressure warning. There you go, look. Which means, you know, we turned the pump on, but there's actually no fuel in the tank to use. Because we're only doing a short flight, so the centre tanks won't have anything in them. Okay, so pushback can happen. So let's go and have a look. And look at that stutter, oh my word. So we can go and hold the toe brake on. We have no toe brakes, oh my word. So the USB is playing up as well. So I've just pulled the controls and plugged them back in, and look at that. So let's just make sure I've actually got controls over here. And yeah, I won't do the flaps until we're... So have I got toe brakes now? I still don't have toe brakes or rudder. Okay, let me just pull this again. And let me pull the other controller completely and plug it in again. I have no steering axis. I've never seen this happen. Also, my laptop is having a fit as well. So I'm going to pull the controller completely from the USB hub. I'm just going to retrace my wires and see what's plugged in where. Because this has never happened this badly before, where none of the controls are behaving. So I am going to pull both the throttle quadrant and the joystick out of the USB hub. And I wonder if there's interference happening, if the shielding on the cables is a load of rubbish. So I've just plugged one of them back in. I'm also going to unplug the Xbox controller. So I'm now plugged in both the throttle quadrant, so I've got throttles working. I've got no joystick whatsoever. So Flight Sim is really putting us through the mill today, isn't it? I've got no rudder control, I wonder. Let's go and have a look and see which profile it's using. If we go and look in the sensitivities, the Z-axis is in use. If we search by input then and go for Z-axis, it should be the rudder. But in the aeroplane, it's doing nothing. Ah, I wonder if it won't until we have hydraulics. That wouldn't surprise me. But I also cannot remove the brake. This is mighty strange. Oh, it's just woken up. And now I have toe brakes. I learned this stuff so you don't have to. So I've just had to unplug everything twice. And suddenly the simulator has started behaving. So it's not just you when the simulator goes crazy, it happens to me as well. Okay, so we can now push back. So press Shift and P. And watch from outside. I've just pressed end and it took 3 seconds before it went to the external view. So we're going to have a fun day with Flight Simulator by the look of it. Okay, so while we are pushing back, we can do the engine start sequence. So in the 777, you don't have to wait for the fuel when you're starting the engines. So starters are up here. So we'll start the right engine first. Bleed air has to be on, of course, which it was already. So I didn't have to do that. I'm being clever today, aren't I? We've been pushed backwards yet. Oh, we forgot the chocks. Look at that stutter. Oh my word. Now is the sim about to break? Nearly. I have never seen it this poor. Ground operations. It's not even responding to clicks. Yeah, we should be removing the chocks and the ground power. And now it'll behave. Oh, look at that! It's stuck again. And you can see the scenery drawing in while we're looking at it. What have they done to Flight Simulator? So while all that mayhem was going on, has the engine actually come up? So can we start engine number 1? So I've told it to stop the pushback. And you can see now we just got hydraulics need to be armed, so we're going to go overhead in a moment. So Control 6. The APU is on auto, so you don't have to turn it off. Oh, sorry, the bleed air. The APU can go off now though. And on the hydraulics section we can go and put all of these to auto, and these two can go to on. Wait for the lights to go out so it all looks okay. the bleed air for that one should disappear in a moment. There you go. So just checking the checklist. So taxi light can go on or down, which is over here. And we can taxi out to the runway. Look at that! Oh my word! What is wrong with this simulator today? It's going to crash. What is it doing? Yeah, it's broken. Okay, we're going to cancel today's live stream. That's unbelievable, isn't it? So it's saying DXGI error device reset. I've never seen this happen before. Your graphics device has encountered a problem. You appear to be using DirectX 12. No, I'm not. Or if I am, I didn't intentionally. That'd be an interesting one. So if we come back into the sim, this has taken 2 hours so far to get to the point of having an airplane on the ground, because navigraph didn't agree with anything, and now the simulator's blown up. So let's go and see Task Manager. Has Flight Sim gone? So let's go back into Flight Sim. This is turning into a fun one, isn't it? Let it launch, and then we'll go and check the graphics settings, which will probably, if it has gone to DirectX 12, I didn't tell it to. I had it set to DirectX 11. I have not overclocked anything. Everything is on factory defaults. It's odd, isn't it? It was running perfectly smoothly yesterday. I wonder, let's go and have a look while it's restarting. Hardware info is running. It's difficult to tell on that what's going on, so let's go and quit that. Let's go and open the temperatures. They are all fine. CPU's fine. Yeah, it's just a software problem. And now we're going to say, yeah, Flight Simulator exited in an unsafe manner. Oh, we'll try again. But we'll go and check the graphics settings before we get going this time. Just wait for it to load. I guess this is good in a way because other people can see that this does happen to everybody. It's rare that it happens to me, because I don't monkey with the simulator, and I don't monkey with the NVIDIA settings either. Whenever there's an NVIDIA update, I run it with the clean install, where it removes it first and then reinstalls it with default settings. But we'll see how we go. It's just frustrating, isn't it? Wait for the sim to load. I haven't even got any scenery installed at the moment. The only airports I've got installed are Lisbon and Tenerife. The only commercial aircraft I've got installed, other than the ones that are through the marketplace, is the 777. Very, very strange. Be interesting to see though in the graphic settings with that warning saying it looked like it was running in DirectX 12 mode. I may have set it to 12 at some point in the past. So maybe it's time to put it back into DirectX 11. We'll find out. Very, very odd. Of course, if we set the graphics settings, it's going to want to restart the sim again, probably, isn't it? Oh, JJ Stevens is saying the 561.09 driver for NVIDIA is causing it. .56109, that's it. Great. So there may be no flight sim from me for a couple of days then until they update it. Or unless I roll back to an earlier version. That is so frustrating. We'll try it once more. We'll have a look and take it back to DirectX 11 maybe. If it is in DirectX 12. Oh well. I'll have to retitle the live stream and leave it on here, saying the one where NVIDIA kills flight sim. It's not the end of the world, is it? It's only a video game. It's a shame because I had the day off work today, so I could have spent the afternoon doing this. It's even taking a while to load the sim, isn't it? It'll be interesting though if we do roll back to DirectX 11. Here we go. So let's go and look in options, general options, graphics, DirectX. Oh, it's using 12 beta. Interesting. So if we go back to 11, you must restart Flight Simulator. Well, of course. See, everything else is just Ultra on default with TAA. So go back, and quit the desktop. We'll come back in and hopefully then we'll finally get the simulator running. So we just shut the simulator again. Let's go and look in Task Manager, make sure it's actually gone. Looks like it has. And try again. Maybe I'll start playing DCS for a while to have a break from Flight Sim. Well, DirectX 12 has been perfectly good for months. I've not had any problems, not had the sim crash for weeks and weeks. But as I said, in about some point in October, I'm going to be acquiring a new PC. It's a bit strange. It's taken them 4 years to get the DirectX 12 drivers right. We'll see how much difference it makes when we get into the sim. If it's super smooth, then we'll know where the difference lied, or lay. I'll learn the English language one day. But this will be a lesson for everybody, I guess. So if you're using DirectX 12 and you've got an NVIDIA card and you're seeing problems with stuttering, if this goes smooth on DirectX 11, we know what the culprit is, don't we? I wondered why. I went to load the 727 the other day and it was stuttering badly. Enough that I gave up on it and went to a different aeroplane. And it didn't even occur to me that it could have been a combination of the graphics driver and DirectX 12. Yeah, but Steve Barker that's just commented is using DirectX 12 and 561.09, but your hardware might not be the same as mine. So it would appear it's particular hardware with particular drivers and particular versions that have problems. We'll find out in a moment. But yeah, so hopefully next month at some point I'll take delivery of a new PC with a 4090 card in it, and we'll see how much difference it makes. Well, just reading the comments there, having the 4090 card isn't going to stop you from getting problems. It'll just move the bottleneck somewhere else. And it doesn't stop bad programming. So JJ Stevens is saying make sure to enable frame gen. I don't think I've ever used it. It's never been an issue before. Ah, with the 4090, yeah. That's a different story. Because it's got the hardware for it. What does Flight Sim think about when it's loading? The bar is still moving. I'm just watching it to see if it's stopped entirely or if it's, completely had a bad day. Here we go. It's suddenly shooting across, look. It's going to go to the menu very soon, hopefully. Then we can put ourselves back on the ground at Lisbon and start laughing if it goes smoothly. Yeah, so Sandeep, if you haven't got RAM matched with your motherboard correctly, that's going to cause nightmares. Okay, here we go. So we've got the menu music before the menu appeared, which is not always a great thing to see. So, Lisbon. Let's try this again, shall we? It was LPPT, wasn't it? There we go. Well, the world map's nice and smooth, and the textures are loading in. Set as departure, 143 gate heavy, flight. And let's see what happens. I'll move the Xbox controller out of the way, seeing as I've unplugged it. Can I do this without it ripping other cables out? Oh, it's trying to tangle itself. It had a valiant attempt there to try and wreck the rest of the disc, but it failed. I'll have to put a time coding on this. Helder's asking which server. I think I'm on Southeast Asia at the moment because I did a group flight on Southeast Asia the other evening. So we'll find out in a moment if this is going to be smooth or not. I might have turned traffic data off though, or sorry, to multiplayer data off. Because I have an unfortunate issue where my channel's become popular enough that if I appear anywhere, I attract people. So I press ready, and the 777 usually does take a few seconds. Let's see what happens. Give it a second to calm down. So let's have a look from outside. It's super stuttery still. It's not as bad. It's probably just calming down as it loads assets in. No, there was another massive stutter then for no reason whatsoever. Let's go and check the settings. General options. So maybe they have completely messed up the graphics drivers. It's now on DirectX 11. It's still on 30 frames a second capped, and it's not even managing that. It's only running at 1080p. The rest of it is just default. Because all I've done is gone and set it on, the default ultra, which is always on usually. It does appear to be settling down. Okay, let's run through it again then in the aeroplane, and it's really poor. But that might be the Lisbon scenery causing that. Look at that. Huge stutter again. So we might be grounded until I either we'll try. We'll see what happens. So we go EFB, request from SimBrief. There comes our flight plan. So then run back through everything. I'm just going back to the top of my checklist. So Control 6 takes us overhead. We're going to put the batteries on. If ground power is available, we can go into Control 9, go into ground operations, and we can request ground power. And then that will say release in a moment. Oh no, so that means it's already done it, doesn't it? So then Control 6. So then we can do primary external power on, secondary external power on. Start the APU. Adiru can go to on. Put the window heats on. Put the IFE passenger seats on and the cabin utility on. Go and arm the emergency lights. Switch on the passenger oxygen. Come down to the flight management computer, which has started to boot up. It hasn't come up with the FMC menu yet. It should come up fairly soon. Why is the monitor refresh rate cut in half? I deliberately max out the graphics card to only do, I've got a 60 Hz monitor, so it's only trying to do 30 frames a second. There's no point going any faster. Anybody who tries to get 60 frames a second out of the sim is an absolute lunatic who just wants to cook their computer. Well, that's my opinion anyway. I can't see any point in turning the PC into a heater for something that's not really going to have a huge benefit in terms of visual performance. If you really want to see it happen, we'll go do it. It will make no appreciable difference to the simulator. So if we go into graphics and put the frame limit to the monitor refresh rate, yeah, and then we just say apply and go back and refresh, and look, it's still not made it any smoother. It just means it's going to cook the PC because it's going to try and get to 60 frames a second, which it won't be able to. FMC, pause in it, and again that will also cause tearing between it rendering here and going out through OBS, because OBS is matched to try and do 30 frames a second, so it's only going to be picking frames every so often. So reference airport is what was it again? LPPT. And go to route, and we can do a route request, and we should be able to pick up SimBrief. Yes, we can. So we'll just wait for it to set payload, set fuel, clear the messages out so we know what we've seen. Select the route. It's requesting the route. Okay, so then we load. It's loading, so we clear the messages so we know what we've seen. And it will come up with activate when it's ready to go. It takes a few seconds normally. There we go. Activate. Execute. Then we go and head on through to performance initialization, and we've got the fuel and everything already done, so we can accept the performance numbers and go to thrust limit and then takeoff. We haven't set the departure yet, so that won't make any sense for the performance, so we can't go and do that. So let's go in here. We want runway 02 ESP6N. Runway 02 ESP6N. Execute that. And then go back to index, and the arrival into Tenerife is going to be runway 25 Turt 2U, and it's the quitty transition on the approach. So ILS Z25 Turt 2U and the quitty transition, and execute. And go and have a look in the legs, and it should all look okay. Go and look in the init refs then, and we should be able to then set flaps, and then it will predict the V speeds. There we go. And then calculate center of gravity. Then go back through thrust limit, and that's all good. So I think we're pretty much good to go on that. So we're going to go over then to the mode control panel. So that's, we'll leave that on the legs page while we're busy doing other things. Huge stutter again. So yeah, it remains to be seen if this will survive into an actual flight because of this NVIDIA issue. So flight level 360 is fine. We can also though go and pre-select L. Oh, is Adaru not aligned yet? Why won't it let me do that? Let me go and have a look. Let's just have a look through the legs, see if there's any discontinuities in here. No, it's got altitudes all the way through. That all looks fine. Okay. Well, we won't worry about... Oh, we haven't got the flight director on, that's why. Idiot. LNAV should work now. And VNAV. So then we can also go, as I said earlier, and use vertical speed mode as well on top of that, and we can also set the heading to 25 degrees. So we'll set this to 2500 feet. We'll also go and put 25 degrees in, which is the runway direction, and select it so it will get both LNAV and heading, VNAV and vertical speed. So it will transfer over when it can. And sorry, I was reading that as the flight level, wasn't I? Really not with it. .360, there we go. So we can press that in as well to select it, and it will make sure that it's armed up there. Okay, so auto throttles are armed. So we've done that bit, so we can go and set rejected takeoff as well while we're here. We can go and put the transponder on standby for the moment. So then overhead, put the beacon light on, and the fuel pumps can go on. And we can push back. So we'll press Shift and P. And before the pushback actually happens, we have to remember, which we didn't, look at that stuttering. It's making it almost uncontrollable in here. So remove the chocks, release the ground power. Again, slowly. And while pushback's happening, let's go and get a little bit ahead of the game then and start the engines. So we'll go for the right engine first. Keep an eye on it over here. So the parking brake isn't on, but we're hardly moving. What is going on? Oh, I thought I'd removed the chocks. Is it not? It didn't respond to the mouse click. I had to click it twice that time. So when that switch goes back up to the top position, we'll go and start engine number 1. And there it goes. So engine number 1, we can switch this immediately because it's electronic these days. You don't have to wait for the RPM to come up. The APU bleed is also automatic, and so is the bus transfer. It's all mod cons, isn't it? It's got all kinds of tricks. So we can go and put the TCAS on. It's already got the radius rings on. Let's go and see how far back we've been pushed. Oh, have we just broken the sim? No. Go away with it. So we've done the engines. So the truck should be pulling away, which it is. We'll go and turn the APU off, which is up here. Then go overhead quickly because it's easier to see from here. We'll go and put the hydraulics on to auto across the board. Why are we getting a warning? Packs are on auto. We've got a gear position. Oh no, we're rolling. We had some positive thrust going on. That's interesting. Okay, so let's go and have a look outside, and we're taking off runway 2, and we're not showing on navigraph now. There we are. So if we go right and then double back on ourselves, we could go for the Mike taxiways, or we could go for Golf and then along uniform, but we'll see. Yeah, I guess Golf is easier, isn't it? So just looking from here, whoa, we're looking to double back and go down there. So let's get the flaps to 15 degrees while we're at it. Are the flaps going to behave today? I've commanded it, they're just taking a while to start moving. There they go. The flight directors are on, but just looking at the live stream comments there, but that was probably from a few minutes ago when I was being having a bit of a brain dead moment. Okay, an aeroplane's appeared in front of us. Yeah, look at that stuttering. It's awful, isn't it? This is supposed to be running at monitor speed. The simulator used to be a lot smoother than it is these days. It has gradually got a lot slower as they've put updates into it. The high fidelity airports have murdered the sim. We may even find, I know it's difficult to speculate what will happen because everyone's hoping that the performance is going to be better with Flight Sim 2024 because it's going to use multiple threads properly, but it really depends on how they've used them. And I suspect they'll have moved on the top bar in terms of the graphics to suit the hardware available now and over the next 3 to 4 years. So you'll probably find the top bar, or the ultra setting in 2024 will be aimed at the 5 series NVIDIA cards and beyond. I wouldn't be surprised. I haven't got the taxi light on, have I? Let's go and put the taxi light on. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the bar has been moved on with the visual rendering. So especially things like they've talked about fractals and stuff like that, haven't they? And drawing stones and all kinds of things. Bushes, clumps of grass, trees, proper trees. So I wouldn't be surprised. You know, if an equivalent amount of data that we've got now can be rendered more quickly, but there are options to show a lot more. So no, I haven't done the checklist in the cockpit yet. When we pull out onto the runway, we'll go and clear that. It will do it. It will pop up on here automatically, won't it? I'll pop through and show everybody that in a moment. You don't have to do it. It's just a visual reminder. We can read through the items on the list. To be honest, because there's nothing lit up on here in yellow, we know that we've done everything anyway. Okay, so let's go and get the strobes on and the landing lights on. And like you say, once we're on the runway, we should get a checklist warning. That is not smooth, is it? It's down to about 15 frames a second, maybe? So I don't know if that's an NVIDIA issue or just this scenery. There we go, checklist incomplete has just come up. So we'll get rid of the caution. We click on the checklist button over here, and that will pull the checklist up down here. And then what we can do is go to the normal menu. We can do the pre-flight checklist. So we did the oxygen, we did the flight instruments, and then we can do the MCP, the takeoff speeds have been done, pre-flight has been done, the trim settings have been done, taxi and takeoff briefing. We'll pretend we did. But you can come back to normal here and you can do all, yeah, so before start, before taxi we don't need anti-ice. We check flight controls are working, the ground equipment was removed, flaps are 15. So then it's after takeoff is the next checklist, so we don't actually need to do that one, so we can go and clear that out of the way, and you'll see the message has now gone away. So parking brake off. Remember, so let's just do a quick double check. Flight directors are on, the modes are all configured, ready to go. We should be pointing 25 degrees down the runway, so we'll ease the throttles forwards. So we're just monitoring the indicators there. Speed. Notice we can push beyond 100% if we just push the throttles all the way. Okay, positive rate, gear up. And autopilot on. Auto throttle is on automatically. And we've got very little to do now other than manage the flaps. So flaps up to next stage. This thing climbs like crazy, doesn't it? Maybe this is the reason for the poor frame rate. We've got a big city, a big photogrammetry city, and a high fidelity airport, and some custom 3D assets nearby. So perhaps it will smooth out as we get further away. Yeah, so just reading live stream comments there, I'm a software developer in the real world, and multi-threading is one of the most complicated programming exercises that you can ever set yourself, you know, a target of trying to use. So it'll be interesting to see what they've managed to do with it. Look at that stuttering as it's making the turn. It's having real problems. So coming up through 8,000 feet, we've already gone through the transition altitude, so we're going to go to standard. We're holding at 250 knots below 10,000 feet automatically. That's all done for us. So we just need to go and lift or switch off the landing lights as we come up through 10,000. Here comes 10,000 feet. Have we not got the passenger signs on? The seating signs? Where are they? Because we should have them on. I must have missed it when I ran through the checklist the second time. Strobes are on. Seatbelts should be on auto, shouldn't they? Yeah. Missed it. Yeah, I think it was just a combination of factors of the stress that the scenery was putting on the GPU. Murdered it. It's a lot smoother now. Now we're away from the airport and the city. Okay, so we're on our way. You can see this Volanta doesn't have the SID. It doesn't always have that kind of thing. Navigraph does. And so does Little Navmap. Oh, but Little Navmap has given up connecting to the simulator. So what we can do is go Tools, Connect to Simulator, Connect, tell it to reconnect basically. Is it going to? No, we're going to have to shut Little Navmap down and reopen it. In the middle of Flight Sim having its bad day, it killed Little Navmap. There we go, it's working again. So we can get rid of the procedures out of the way. And we've got very little to do now until we get to our destination, because it's following the climb rate instructions. So we can increase the range and the navigation display now. And we haven't really got a lot to do. The auto brake automatically switches itself off these days. Notice that following climb out, vertical speed was dropped, as was heading mode. So as soon as it was able to, to be on the track in the flight plan, it dropped those modes. Does the weather work on this? Although there's no weather out there to see, is there? So it was a bit of a silly thing to switch on. What about terrain? Do we get any coastline showing up? Oh, it's behind us though, isn't it? So again, not really worth doing. Having said that, there was something rendering out there. Or was it just the terrain and the number? Yeah. Okay. So we're making the turn. Perfectly smooth now, look. It's just the big gold high fidelity airports just murder the simulator. So you put a complicated aeroplane in a complicated airport with a complicated city nearby, and it's, yeah, goodbye to all of your GPU RAM and hello stutters. Okay, so if we go and look down here on the progress page, it's saying we're going to get to GCTS, which is Tenerife, at 17:09. We're going to get to VFA at 15:20. So that's showing 15:08, which is an hour behind me, so that means 6 o'clock for me for the landing at Tenerife. Which is fine, a couple of hours in the air. climbs like crazy, doesn't it? All the way to get 25,000 feet. It's a bit different to some of the older airliners. They take forever and a day to get to altitude. I wonder if there's any difference in the rendering between DirectX 11 and 12. Between, you know, what the final result looks like. Yeah, here's the estimates, look. The load sheet. Okay, we settle in for the journey. Almost up to altitude. So Sam's saying that DirectX 12 seems to load stuff much faster than DirectX 11 did. Yeah, it's difficult to say, isn't it, how each one behaves differently. But as you can see now, it's silky smooth. Now we're away from that city, which you would expect, to be honest. I noticed DirectX 11 still has the graphical artifact on the beginning of the contrails. It's not as visible as in DirectX 12, but it's still there. Yeah, the lines leaving the engines. You can't see it from all angles. There it is, look. It extends all the way in. Anyway, keep an eye on the aeroplane and let it do its thing. So coming up to 36,000 feet, which is way above the flight plan. The flight plan only called for, where is it? Can we see the OFP? Yeah, here we go, view the OFP. Yeah, it was only going to go to 230, look. I guess that's a minimum though, isn't it? Cost index 200. Of course we loaded this in automatically, so it pulled in the performance data for us. We didn't have to key any of it. So yeah, Sam's saying he's got a feeling that Flight Sim 24 will need an upgrade. I wouldn't be surprised. And there'll be a lot of belly aching about it. But I've been planning for the upgrade for months now. Slowly putting money away and trying to protect that pile of money to be able to go and afford a new machine. I've had this PC though for 4 years, so I can't complain. Or 3.5, I should say. So I don't know what's going to happen to this PC, whether it will go to my daughter or if I'll sell it. I don't know. I've got 3 daughters though, so that becomes contentious. The thing that's always surprised me is the difference between running at 1080p and running at 4K isn't really that much in terms of stress on the graphics card. So it's not the amount of pixels being thrown around, it's the structures that it's computing. And the scale doesn't really have much to do with that. Right. I'm going to leave this flying for a bit. I'll set up a little nav map on a minimal display so we can see where it is. And I'll come back a bit later to show where we've got to. So if I make that, say, that size, so you can see the little yellow aeroplane. We'll get rid of the taskbar. That's not how you get rid of the taskbar. I'll turn my microphone off for a bit and we'll leave it to fly the route. So I'll be back probably about an hour and a bit to look after landing. So I'll see you later. Okay, I'm back. So I thought we'd check in a bit before top of descent just to see where we are, see how the airplane's doing. Seems to be looking after itself fine so far. Autopilot's been working like a champ throughout. So we are Mach 0.84, 36,000 feet, or flight level 360. Let's have a look at this chart then. So we're coming in towards, I've forgotten what the northern island is, Lanzarote, isn't it? Yeah. We're coming in over the top of Lanzarote and Fuerteventura. And then it's an interesting star that brings us in over Gran Canaria, and then we do like a racetrack to come down towards Tenerife. So let's go and have a look at that in navigraph. And they've never fixed this bug with navigraph, have they? Where it doesn't render properly. Anyway, back down our route, so we can see the same thing drawn again here in navigraph. So we'll go and open up the start. So our first target is flight level 110, or between flight level 110 and, so between 11,000 and 10,000 feet basically, at Lufia, and then drop down as we go. So we should be able to just set our target altitude and let VNav take care of that, and just keep an eye on the speed during the descent. Use spoilers as we need to help the airplane out. It should be straightforward. And then, yeah, it's fairly straightforward from then. So between 4,000 and 8,000 feet, and then between 4,000 and 6,000 feet at Quiti, and then down into the approach. So the approach itself, you want it to be at 2,500 feet when we turn into the ILS, which is fine. So that's pretty predictable stuff really. So we'll see how we get on. So I'll be back in a few minutes time when we get closer to top of descent. So I'll leave that up here for the moment, and I'll be back soon. Okay, so we're over the top of Lanzarote at the moment. Look at how strange that landscape looks with the... I'm guessing it's volcanic. Then Fuerteventura is up in front of us. So looking at Lanzarote here, the city we can see Arrecife, is that? I'm not sure how you pronounce the place names. So we can see top of descent is about 80 miles out now. So we'll immediately take it to 10,000 feet and let it manage the descent as it wants to, because there was a period during the descent where there were restrictions, weren't there? So let's go and have a quick look at that and remind ourselves. So yeah, on the way into Lufia, we've got to get between 11,000 and 10,000 feet. So if I just target 10,000 feet initially, then we can target 5,000. We've got lots of time to stay at 5,000 feet on the run-in towards Tenerife. That's a bit of an interesting star. So we're actually in the star already. It's going to be a good one. So we may as well just enjoy the view for the next few minutes. Just out of interest, the descent starts, let me make this full size so we don't get confused. Yeah, the descent starts at the end of Fuerteventura then, or before the little outcrop at the end. So we can see that in the distance, so when we get to about there, we'll know that we need to start our descent. So yeah, Sam is saying in the live stream comments that the racetrack pattern is probably to do with spacing. Yeah, I imagine so. Especially if you imagine there's aircraft coming from all sorts of different directions. So if you show all of the stars on here, you'll see that they come in from all sorts of directions, and they're looking to join this queue. Basically, all of them filter into this queue. So there's marshalling points from the east and the west, and then routes into the queue. Busy place. So if we cancel changing it, okay, that's Fuerteventura below us, I should say, not behind us, below us. And in the far distance you can see there's Tenerife. Or is it? No. Tenerife is the one with the mountain, of course. I just suddenly had a thought there and thought, no, that's Gran Canaria. Yeah. So that's Gran Canaria and that's Tenerife. And the airport is just the other side. So let's have a little look at this. So this is Fuerteventura. Okay, back again. Isn't it funny how things always conspire to make things more difficult than you thought they were going to be? So there's the start. It's a good one, isn't it? So we'll go inside the aeroplane now, and you can see top of descent is just before Canis in the aircraft. Obviously it's an estimation in little nav map, which isn't going to be super accurate. So we're going to go and move our altitude target down, otherwise VNAV will do nothing, to 10,000 feet. So that's got it there. And the aircraft won't start descending until it comes through the top of descent marker. So let's have a look on the legs page. I just need to step away for a minute. Back in a moment. Okay, I'm back again. Let's go and zoom in on the start so you can see the start there. We need to be down to between 10 and 11,000 feet at Lufia, so we're on target to do that in time, so we don't need to worry about putting the spoilers out just yet. Let's go and check while we're on our way in what the transition altitude is. Transition level by ATC, but I bet the ILS chart has got it on it somewhere. 6,000 feet. So it would be useful to find out while we're here the weather at the airport, which is 1,014 hectopascals, 2994 inches. Okay, we have an FMC message. Drag required. So, there we go. Just cleared it. So the airplane does need a bit of help to come down steeply enough. It's just reminding us at the moment that we've still got the speed brakes out, but that's fine. So the marker here shows you we're still on the VNAV path, which is good. Let's go and check the approach. Wrong diagram. There we go. 110.9, 253 degrees. Let's go and have a look and make sure that's in here correctly. 110.9, 253 degrees. Yeah, that's correct. So there's Tenerife out in front of us. So we're just coming in over the top of Gran Canaria at the moment. If we go and have a look behind ourselves, it's quite rugged, isn't it? Okay, so we can go and take the spoilers off. Actually, no, we probably need it again to slow down now. So as we're coming down towards 10,000 feet, the aeroplane's trying to slow down to get to below 250 knots. Have we got some speed restrictions as well then? As part of the star. Yeah, 220 knots. So we need to get to 220 knots for Loof here, which is fine. Let's bring this down again. Make sure everything's good. You can hear me over the engines, that's fine. And it's warning now that we've got the spoilers out still, even though we've hit our target airspeed, which is absolutely fine. It's funny, I'm just reading the live stream comments, and someone said I talked to a 777 pilot, and he said that the ER is the hardest airplane to configure on final and slowdown due to the sheer weight of the air and the aircraft momentum. Yeah, I see this a lot with people flying the simulator where they think this is a bit like an Airbus, and the Airbus does the same, to be honest, on the Phoenix ones anyway, where if you don't configure them correctly and you don't keep an eye on them on descent, they can get away from you. So you need to be ready on the spoilers to give the aeroplane half a chance of being able to do what is always quite optimistic on its flight path in, but obviously the more data you can give it, the more accurately it'll be able to track. So you can see here, I've forgotten what RNP and ANP stand for, but it's actual versus it's the profile, isn't it? I've forgotten what the actual acronyms stand for, but it's the plan versus actuals. And if the marker's in the middle, then we're on target basically, and you can see it, the same thing is being shown here. So we're coming through here between 10 and 11,000 feet, so we're on plan. So we're now looking for between flight level 080 and 4,000 feet. So remember 6,000 is the transition altitude, which is why you see that difference in the flight levels are shown above the transition altitude. So we'll come down to 5. So again, we leave VNAV on, we just target 5,000 feet now. And the aeroplane will carry on down, but it will be doing it within the restrictions. So it's wanting to... It's interesting that once we leveled up out of the turn, the attitude of the aeroplane affects the minimum speed, obviously. Let's look from outside. So we're below, or we're about to go below 10,000 feet, so in preparation for that we'll go and put the landing lights on. So we've targeted 5,000, it's still on the VNAV path, so it's saying it doesn't need to do it yet. So to be honest, we could go and target if we wanted to. Yeah, it's still 5,000 at Quitty, so we're 5,000 all the way around here, but it knows it doesn't have to do it yet. But that's interesting though, because we should be below 8,000. It's not obeying it, is it? Has it got it on the flight plan? This is inside the star, and it's... I didn't load the wind data, did I? So I'm going to, rather than use VNAV now, That's interesting. Did I select 5,000? Is that why it's not done it? Okay, let's just do a flight level change down to 5,000. I'm done with waiting for the aeroplane. So do we have any more speed restrictions on the way round? I think we're 220 all the way in, aren't we? Yeah. And then obviously we set up for approach on the way into the final corner. Obviously in the real world, ATC would be governing speed to control separation. So there's the green banana. Remember, we don't really need to be between 4,000 and 6,000 until quitty, which is all the way around this corner. So I didn't load the wind data on the way out, so we could go and see what happens. I don't think it's going to make a lot of difference to it, to be honest. So we're getting down. Let's go and remind ourselves of the barometric pressure. So 2994 when we get to 6,000 feet. So we could, to help the aeroplane out, go to the first stage of flaps. And you'll see the restriction appear. It will come down to about 240 knots, I think, for 1 degree. Or not even that, look. We can still go an enormous speed with 1 degree of flaps. But it gives us some extra drag, which will assist in the descent. So VNAV was fine until we leveled out, and then it didn't want to continue descent, so it's probably something we've missed. People are very quick to say that things are bugs, when quite often it's that they've missed something. And I've no doubt that I've probably missed something, because I don't fly this aeroplane often enough to know it that well. So let's go and have another look at the chart. So on the arrival, max 210 knots when we get to the feathers. So that's only dropping another 10 knots. And then 9 miles out, 190 knots, and then 4 miles out, 160. So you should be, by the time you get to 4 miles out, you should be stabilized, ready for landing. So we're coming in towards 6,000 feet. Look, it's gone and showing us this now. So what did we say the barometric pressure was? 2994. It's only a couple of hundredths off. There we go. And it's synchronized on the co-pilot side as well. Coming down towards 5,000. So there's Tenerife. So the South Airport is over here, so we're going to go that way and then turn in. So if we increase the range on the navigation display for a moment, you'll see that. If we do a missed approach, we're out to a hold at Couture, which I imagine then we go back round and rejoin the route if you did that. Yeah, this just didn't want to descend until it had to, so it was holding on until it got to quitty. You'll see that profile come back down in a moment. So it was going to stay high. So let's go for 5 degrees flaps and see what it says on the speeds. You've got there's a table over here, look. 245 knots on 5 degree, 230 knots on 15 degrees flaps. So yeah, 245, look. And the USB bug just hit us, look. It just threw the gear out for a second. I didn't touch any controls. That did that all on its own. That's another thing I'll be glad to get rid of with getting rid of this computer, is those USB issues. It's always done it the whole time I've had it. It's a motherboard issue, I think, with the USB controller. Interesting, you know, lots of other people have had the similar issue, so maybe they've got a similar family of motherboard, or you know, similar USB controller that has got some sort of glitch that Flight Sim just doesn't like. Okay, so we can see there's the route in, so we may as well come down to 210 now. And remember, we need to get to 2,500 feet as well. We need to do it in time for the turn. So if we just do flight level change, it will just drop us quickly. There's the turn. You'll see the green banana, here it comes. Plenty of time. We could obviously use spoilers as well if we wanted to. But when we come around the corner, we'll drop the speed back as well. We've already confirmed the ILS was tuned in to approach for this runway. So let's go and have a look. You can see the airfield over there. The only other game I've seen have the USB problems that Flight Sim has was an EA Golf game. Is it PGA Golf or something? I got it on an offer from Steam ages and ages ago. And I only ever played it twice because it threw these USB issues repeatedly. So if you want to take control of this coming down in a sensible manner, you can just go to vertical speed mode. We're getting a little bit of turbulence going on, so what we can do then is say come down at, whoops, at 1,000 feet a minute maybe. We don't even need that, do we? Say 500 feet a minute. Just ease your way down. And the sim just froze again, look, for no reason. Not like it's even doing much. So let's go for the next level of flaps. So I'll just command here to 15. So you'll see this coming down. For 15 degrees, the maximum speed is 230 knots, and we're at 210. Look outside. See the wings doing their work, wobbling around. There's the airfield. Okay, here comes the turn. And you'll probably see that profile start to appear anytime soon, or you would imagine it would. So Mustang's saying a new computer build is fun. I'm not going to build it. I'm buying one ready to go. I don't have the time. And I don't want to take any risks with it. I'm going to get one that somebody has put together with matched parts that go, you know, that are not going to cause any bottlenecks or problems. It's going to have liquid cooling. It'll have to with an NVIDIA 4090, to be honest. I'm not taking any risks with it. I'm going to let someone who's experienced at building machines do it. Over 20 degrees flaps and 180 knots commanded. And you can see now the runway out there. Get down. We'll maintain the view over here of the navigation display, but we'll use landing mode this side now. We'll put approach mode on before we go through the localizer, otherwise it won't, sorry, the glide slope, otherwise it won't pick it up. So we're now on the glide slope, and we can wind the speed back down to 160 before we get to 4 miles out. Which is doing rather handily because we've got the flaps down already and we're going to full flaps. So we are fully configured. So you can see the flaps are just extending now. So you go and look from outside, actually enjoy it for a change. They're huge, aren't they? Let's go and have a look inside. I'd actually enjoy this for a change. So we get to see the scenery going past and the airfield. So this is a high fidelity version of Tenerife as well. So we've got landing mode is lit up as well. So we've got auto land. Should go and put the brakes on as well. We'll go and put it on auto brake 2.
1,000.
Should have a look from outside. That looks like it's struggling to stay on the glide path. I'm going to get ready just in case. No, actually it's okay. It is wandering around in the wind though, isn't it? We've got a tailwind. Oh my word, we've got a 25 knot tailwind. Where did that come from? That was not forecast half an hour ago. Well, we'll see what happens. No, it's dying away, look, as we descend. 20 knots.
Sync rate.
If the airplane manages this,
Sync rate.
I'll be amazed.
20. 10.
Yeah, the So we just landed with an enormous tailwind. So spoilers out. Take the autopilot off. Didn't even need the reverses, look. I was ready to hit them, but didn't need them. So auto throttle can come off. So that wind happened during the flight, because at the point we took off, this is a really good illustration actually, as to why you shouldn't program the arrival before you've left, because as you saw then, what we had pre-programmed in was wrong, and we got away with it because it was a lovely long runway. In the real world that would never have happened. We would have, you know, ATC on approach would have told us which runway and given us the appropriate star and approach details. So if you've ever wondered, that's why you can actually take off without programming the departure, because you wouldn't normally. So not a departure, the approach and arrival information. Should we go, which terminal should we go and stop at? This does look remarkably like the real place, by the way. It's scary how much there's a stealth bomber parked here. Only in Flight Simulator can that happen. That's great, isn't it? Okay, get rid of the cautions. And now, can we have ground power here? Okay, it won't let us have both. But that's fine. We've got one. Landing lights should have come off, by the way, when we came off the taxiway, but we were so busy admiring the outside of the aeroplane we didn't do any of that. This appears to have smoothed itself up a lot while we were in the flight, so whatever was going on earlier is a lot happier now than it was. I'm just moving the camera around to see what's going on. So yeah, we came in with a 20-knot tailwind, but I'm amazed actually that the guidance system on board handled it. You'd think it would have some sort of limit where it would say no, but no, it did it. That was impressive. Anyway, I've got to go and have some dinner, so you can see that we followed the plan to the letter all the way in. That was crazy, wasn't it? It's amazing how that wind turned around though while we were in flight. Although departing took an hour longer than it should have because of the simulator problems, didn't it? So I'm going to leave it all there. Just before we go, let's go and see what Volanta made of it. So this interesting approach. So you can see it there, look, in 3 dimensions. And the actual final approach, we came in at 467 feet per minute. That's not bad considering it was an awful 70 degrees. See, look at that. That's interesting. So recenter this. This is saying that the wind was 70 degrees. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, 14 knots. Yeah. So it was down to 14 by the time we were on the ground then. Or it is now at least. Well, no, I'm guessing that's recorded at the time it happened, isn't it? Yeah, that's a good one though. So that wind had turned round while we were in the air. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully you enjoyed that. And I'll see you all again soon. Hopefully, before too long, we'll have a new computer that doesn't stutter and doesn't have all these problems with, look at that. Stutter, look the other way. If I look again, stutter. As soon as it has to load any of this stuff in, it just has a nightmare with it. I'll do it again, look, watch. So look that way, then look that way, stutter. It's a huge stutter whenever it loads that detail in. Anyway, I'm not going to keep labouring the point. I'll see you again soon. Take care.